Hello all, this is M. Sandeep Kumar and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Concepts of IIT Maths. In our previous videos, we have seen the introduction of inverse trigonometry chapter. We have learned how to draw the graph of inverse trigonometric functions, and after that we have seen various properties and we have proved it. So some of the properties like sine inverse of sine x is equal to what, or sine of sine inverse x is equal to what, these kind of properties, and few other properties like what is sine inverse of minus x, cos inverse of minus x, etc. And then sine inverse of cos theta is what, cos inverse of sine theta, etc. And then what is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y, tan inverse x minus tan inverse y, sine inverse x plus sine inverse y, sine inverse x minus sine inverse y. So we have seen all these properties along with proofs and sufficient examples in our previous videos, and in today's video we will discuss about cos inverse x plus cos inverse y, and then cos inverse x minus cos inverse y and their proofs. After discussing these properties and their proofs, we will look at some problems based on these inverse trigonometric properties. Okay, so let us start. What is cos inverse x plus cos inverse y? Conditions are very important while using these properties. What is it? If x belongs to closed interval 0, 1 and y belongs to closed interval 0, 1. So which means both x and y are numbers between 0 and 1. Okay, so you have to remember this. If x and y are numbers between 0 and 1, then cos inverse x plus cos inverse y has only one formula, which is cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. That's it. No other formula. Okay, but for sine inverse x plus sine inverse y, we have seen two different formulae, but here it's just one. Always cos inverse x plus cos inverse y is this, but remember x and y are numbers between 0 and 1, and they can be 0 and they can be 1. Let us see how to prove it. Very easy proof, dear students. So in proof, first let me take cos inverse x is equal to alpha, some angle called alpha, and from this we can say that x is equal to cos alpha. And dear students, if x is between 0 and 1, remember, if x is between 0 and 1, then cos inverse x is between, cos inverse x or alpha, we can say alpha is between 0 and pi by 2. So you can understand this if you have very good basics in this particular chapter. When x is between 0 and 1, then alpha is between 0 and pi by 2. And if x is between minus 1 and 0, then alpha will be between pi by 2 and pi. Just go through the concepts, introduction concepts, you will get a clarity. Similarly, let cos inverse y is equal to beta. So from this we can say that y is equal to cos beta. So and remember, according to question, y is between 0 and 1. So which means beta is also between 0 and pi by 2. Even y is between 0 and 1, so beta is between 0 and pi by 2. Then what happens to the question? We are supposed to prove that alpha plus beta is equal to cos inverse of this. So we have to prove that alpha plus beta is equal to cos inverse of this. So we are talking about alpha plus beta. So from here, what if I add alpha and beta? What happens to that inequality? Alpha plus beta. Alpha plus beta will be between what? While adding, we will add directly. 0 plus 0 is 0. Pi by 2 plus pi by 2 is pi. So alpha plus beta is always between 0 and pi. Okay. Now what I'll do is, I want to prove that alpha plus beta is this, because this is alpha and this is beta. I want to prove that alpha plus beta is equal to this. So let me find cos of alpha plus beta first. Cos of alpha plus beta, we know that it is cos alpha cos beta minus sin alpha sin beta, where cos alpha is x and cos beta is y. Dear students, if cos alpha is x, from trigonometric concepts we know that sin alpha is square root of 1 minus x square. And similarly, if cos beta is y, then sin beta is square root of 1 minus y square. Sin alpha is positive and sin beta is positive because alpha and beta are in first quadrants. Okay, so always carefully solve every step. Okay, so anyhow, we have got cos of alpha plus beta is equal to xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. And please observe that alpha plus beta is between 0 and pi, which means alpha plus beta is in restricted domain of cos function. So cos will go to the right side, it will become cos inverse. Or else you can also apply cos inverse on both sides. So what happens if I apply cos inverse on both sides? Cos inverse of cos alpha plus beta is equal to cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. And observe that alpha plus beta is between 0 and pi. Alpha plus beta is in restricted domain of cos function. So cos inverse and cos can be ignored. We will get what? Alpha plus beta. So we will get alpha plus beta is equal to cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. This step is very important. Alpha plus beta is in restricted domain of cosine function. Restricted domain is between 0 and pi. If you get alpha plus beta between minus pi by 2 and plus pi by 2, I cannot do this step. I cannot say that cos inverse and cos can be ignored. I should not say that. Since alpha plus beta is between 0 and pi, that means alpha plus beta is in restricted domain of cosine function. Cos inverse and cos can be ignored. And we will get only alpha plus beta in the left side and this in the right side. So what is alpha? Alpha is cos inverse x. And what is beta? Beta is cos inverse y. So therefore, cos inverse x plus cos inverse y is equal to cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. That's it. Very easy proof. If you look at the proof of sin inverse x plus sin inverse y, it had two different cases. Why we got two different cases means because of this alpha plus beta in that proof. Alpha plus beta was between minus 90 and plus 90. So we had to divide it. No, it is between 0 and pi only. In that it was not in restricted domain. We got two different cases. If you look at the proof, you will get a clarity. But now here, already alpha plus beta is between 0 and pi. It is in restricted domain of cosine function. So cos inverse and cos can be ignored. So this is how we can prove it. We will look at a problem based on this. But let us also discuss what is cos inverse x minus cos inverse y. Okay, this is the second theorem today. If x and y are again between 0 and 1, then cos inverse x minus cos inverse y has two different formulae. I will take cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. When means if x is less than or equal to y. If x is less than or equal to y, then I will take this formula. And if x is greater than y, then the answer is minus cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. I'll take plus of if x is less than or equal to y, and I'll take minus of if x is greater than y. So there are two formulae. Okay, so you can by heart it, but let us also see how to prove it. Here we have two cases. Okay, so we will solve it, the two cases. So introduction is same like the previous theorem. What is it? In proof, I'll say that cos inverse x is equal to alpha, which means x is equal to cos alpha, and cos inverse y is equal to beta, and which means y is equal to cos beta. So clearly x is between 0 and 1. X is between 0 and 1, and therefore cos alpha, x means cos alpha. Cos alpha is between 0 and 1, so alpha is between 0 and 90 degrees. Similarly, y is between 0 and 1, which means beta is also between 0 and 90 degrees. Obviously, now we are talking about alpha minus beta. We are talking about what here, students? Alpha minus beta in this particular theorem. So let us see what is alpha minus beta between. While adding alpha and beta, we will add 0 plus 0 and pi by 2 plus pi by 2. But while subtracting, we will not do like this. We should not do 0 minus 0 is 0, pi by 2 minus pi by 2 is 0. We should not do like that. Then how to write these two numbers means, we should take the minimum here minus maximum here. Minimum minus maximum will come here. So what is it? 0 minus pi by 2, which is minus pi by 2. Then what will come here means maximum minus minimum. Maximum of alpha minus minimum of beta. So that means pi by 2 minus 0 is pi by 2. So to find the lowest value, we should take minimum of alpha minus maximum of beta, and we should write here. And to get this particular number, take maximum of alpha minus minimum of beta, you will get it here. So dear students, alpha minus beta is between minus 90 and plus 90. Okay, and we have to prove that alpha minus beta is equal to this. So since we have to prove that alpha minus beta is cos inverse of something, let us see what is cos of alpha minus beta. So what is cos of alpha minus beta, dear students? Cos of alpha minus beta is cos alpha cos beta plus sin alpha sin beta. So cos alpha is x into cos beta is y. Plus sin alpha is what? If cos alpha is x, then sin alpha is root of 1 minus x square into cos beta is y. So sin beta is root of 1 minus y square. Actually sin alpha is plus or minus root of 1 minus x square into plus or minus root of 1 minus y square. But why I did not take minus, why I have taken plus means alpha is between 0 and 90. Alpha is in first quadrant. So sin alpha is positive. So plus root of. Sin beta is also positive. So plus root of. Okay. So now this is cos of alpha minus beta. Cos of alpha minus beta is equal to xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. Let me call this as equation number 1. So why I have to stop here means alpha minus beta is between minus 90 and plus 90. It is not in the restricted domain of cosine function. Because what is the restricted domain of cosine function? Between 0 and pi. If alpha minus beta is between 0 and pi, then cos will go to the right side, it will become cos inverse. But the thing is that alpha minus beta is between minus 90 and plus 90. So cos has no chance of going to the right side directly. It cannot become cos inverse. Then what to do, sir? Means we have to divide it into two cases. Let us see what are the two cases. Case 1, when x is less than or equal to y. Let us see what happens when x is less than or equal to y. So the problem is about cos inverse x and cos inverse y, right? Let me apply cos inverse on both sides and observe this step, dear students. When I apply cos inverse on both sides, if you look at the graph of cos inverse x, it is a decreasing function. Cos inverse x, the graph of cos inverse x comes like this, correct or not? It is a decreasing function. As we move from left to right, it is a decreasing function. So therefore, when I apply cos inverse on both sides, since cos inverse is a decreasing function, inequality will change. These are our basic concepts and we have to be very good at it. Please understand this. If I apply sin inverse on both sides, sin inverse is a increasing function. Inequality will not change. But cos inverse is a decreasing function, so inequality will change. Please observe these small points. And cos inverse x is alpha, cos inverse y is beta, which says that alpha minus beta is greater than or equal to 0. Dear students, whenever x is less than or equal to y, alpha minus beta is greater than 0 or equal to 0. So from this, if alpha minus beta is greater than 0 or equal to 0, we can say that alpha minus beta is greater than or equal to 0, but it has to be less than or equal to pi by 2. It has to be less than or equal to pi by 2. So what is the meaning of it? Alpha minus beta is between 0 and pi by 2. Now come to this first equation. Now alpha minus beta is between 0 and pi by 2. This set 0 comma pi by 2 is a subset of 0 comma pi. Correct or not? Where 0 comma pi is the restricted domain of cosine function. So 0 comma pi by 2 is a part of 0 comma pi, which is the restricted domain of cosine function. So therefore, since 0 comma pi by 2, alpha minus beta, which is between 0 and pi by 2. Okay, since alpha minus beta, now it is in restricted domain of cosine function. Since alpha minus beta is now, what I will say? Now alpha minus beta is in the restricted domain of cosine function. So what happens to the first equation? Now alpha minus beta is in restricted domain. We can say cos goes to the right side, it will become cos inverse. And if you are not familiar with it, you can apply cos inverse on both sides. What is it? Cos inverse of cos of alpha minus beta is equal to cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. So alpha minus beta is in restricted domain of cosine function. We can ignore cos inverse and cos. So we will get alpha minus beta is equal to cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. And you know what is alpha and what is beta according to the question. Alpha is cos inverse x minus beta is cos inverse y. So which is equal to cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. Okay, so in case 1, this is just half of the proof, because I proved that cos inverse x minus cos inverse y is this when x is less than or equal to y. So in problems, if you observe that x is less than y or if x is equal to y, then I can use this formula. Now case 2 is when x is greater than y. What happens if x is greater than y? Then let us see what. In case 2, let us see what happens if x is greater than y. Same process like what we have done before. Apply cos inverse on both sides. So cos inverse x and cos inverse y, and obviously inequality will change because cos inverse x function is a decreasing function from left to right. Okay, now cos inverse x is alpha less than cos inverse y is beta. So from this we can say that alpha minus beta is less than 0. Alpha minus beta is less than 0 means according to this, if it is less than 0, it can be greater than or equal to minus pi by 2. So obviously it is greater than or equal to minus pi by 2. And dear students, the restricted domain of cosine function is what? Between 0 and pi. If alpha minus beta is an angle between 0 and pi means I can say that cos goes to the right side, it will become cos inverse. If alpha minus beta is not an angle between 0 and pi means I cannot take cos to the right side. So come back here, alpha minus beta is less than 0, between minus 90 and 0. So alpha minus beta is not in the restricted domain of cosine function. Then what to do? This step, the next step, what I am going to do is very, very important. So please observe carefully. Generally, cos theta is positive in either first quadrant or fourth quadrant. We all know that the first quadrant angle is generally taken as theta, and the fourth quadrant angle is either taken as 2 pi minus theta or only minus theta. Correct or not? The fourth quadrant angle. So what I am going to do is, if you take this as theta, first I will check whether theta is in first quadrant or not. Certainly between 0 and minus 90 means it is not there in first quadrant. So I should check either 2 pi minus theta or minus theta. That means what? First of all, if this is theta, what is minus theta? If this is theta, what is minus theta? So multiply with minus. Then what happens? Minus of alpha minus beta. Okay. Minus 0 will come here, and minus of minus pi by 2 will come here. This will come here, this will come here. When I multiply with minus on both sides, this inequality will be carried here and this inequality will be carried here. Now dear students, after getting this, check whether now new angle between 0 and pi by 2 is in restricted domain of cosine function or not. Clearly, the angle between 0, the new angle which is minus of alpha minus beta, is between 0 and 90, and between 0 and 90 means it is a subset of the restricted domain. Yes, what is the meaning of it means, dear students, I can write cos of alpha minus beta as cos of minus of alpha minus beta. That means what? We know that cos theta is equal to cos of minus theta. Correct or not? Similarly, cos of alpha minus beta means cos of minus of alpha minus beta. Cos theta is equal to cos of minus theta. That is what I have written. LHS is there, right? Cos of alpha minus beta. Instead of writing cos of alpha minus beta, I wrote it like this. You can try this also. 2 pi minus theta. Check whether 2 pi minus theta is in the restricted domain of cosine function or not. If I add 2 pi here, I'll get 2 pi and 2 pi plus pi by 2. So the angle will be between 2 pi and 5 pi by 2. It is not in restricted domain of the cosine function. So that's why I did not take 2 pi minus theta and I have taken minus theta. If you want to understand this particular concept, if you want even better clarity, then look at the previous proofs of sin inverse x plus sin inverse y, tan inverse x plus tan inverse y. I have discussed in detail. This is not something new. If you are following our previous videos, you will get a clarity here. Okay na? So fine. So now what is it? Minus of alpha minus beta is in restricted domain. So we have written what? Cos of alpha minus beta as cos of minus of alpha minus beta. LHS became this, but RHS is same. Xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. Now dear students, this is equal to this. This is in this negative of alpha minus beta is in the restricted domain of cosine function. It is in restricted domain, so cos, now it will go to the right side. It will become what? So if you are not familiar with taking cos to the right side and all, then do one thing. So here and here apply cos inverse on both sides. Cos inverse of cos of negative of alpha minus beta is equal to xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. And since negative of alpha minus beta is in restricted domain, we can say that cos inverse and cos can be ignored. We will get minus of alpha is cos inverse x minus beta is cos inverse y, which is equal to, I forgot to mention cos inverse here. Yes, which is equal to cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. And multiply with minus on both sides, you will get the second one. What is it? Therefore, dear students, cos inverse x minus cos inverse y is equal to negative of cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. That's it. So this is the second proof. So there are two cases when it comes to cos inverse x minus cos inverse y formula. One will be plus of and another will be minus of. To have clarity about this particular theorem, let us look at a small example. Yes, if generally I'll tell you what is a mistake which will be made by students. When they say cos inverse 3 by 4 minus cos inverse 1 by 4, they'll plan to use the previous formula directly. What they'll write is, they'll use this formula cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. Children blindly will try to use this formula and they'll write cos inverse of 3 by 4 into 1 by 4 plus root of 1 minus 3 by 4 whole square into root of 1 minus 1 by 4 whole square, and they will calculate, they will get the answer. Obviously the answer will be wrong. So why the answer is wrong means the conditions are very important. What is the condition? I can use plus cos inverse of when means if x is less than or equal to y. But look at this x, y, and x is actually greater than y in this particular example. Then what is the correct answer? If you write plus of, your answer is wrong. So what are we supposed to write here? The answer is what? Since x is greater than y, the answer is minus cos inverse of. So we should write minus cos inverse of this and calculate minus cos inverse of 3 by 16 plus root of 16 minus 9 will be root 7 by 4 into, and 16 minus 1 is root 15 by 4. That's it. So negative of cos inverse of 3 plus root of this divided by 16. So that will be the answer. So what kind of mistake students are making is, they'll write plus of, but it is not plus of, it is minus of. So this is very very important. Okay now, so be careful regarding that. Let us look at two questions based on cos inverse x plus cos inverse y and cos inverse x minus cos inverse y. Two questions. Here is a question on the board. If cos inverse x plus cos inverse y minus cos inverse z is equal to pi, then prove that x square plus y square plus z square plus 2xyz is equal to 1. And dear students, you observe one thing. They did not give any conditions. They did not say x, what is the possible value of xyz. They did not mention anything. If they do not mention anything, then what we will do? We will blindly use the formula. So first of all, cos inverse x plus cos inverse y is equal to pi as it is, and minus cos inverse x minus cos inverse z goes that side, plus cos inverse z. Now we have formula for cos inverse x plus cos inverse y, and we will assume that x and y both are positive. Assuming that x and y both are positive, let us use that formula. What is it? Cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square. So which is equal to pi plus cos inverse z. And I can say that cos inverse will go to the right side. It will become cos when this particular value is between minus 1 and plus 1. Or else you can apply cos on both sides. When you apply cos on both sides, what you will get? Cos of cos inverse of xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square is equal to cos of pi plus cos inverse z. So I have applied cos on both sides. And assuming that this value is between minus 1 and plus 1, cos and cos inverse will get ignored, and what I'll get? Xy minus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square is equal to cos pi plus theta is what? Third quadrant, right? Pi plus theta, third quadrant. So in third quadrant, cos is negative. Next, pi plus, that means 180 plus, even multiple of 90 degrees. So cos will remain cos. Even multiple of 90 means cos will remain cos. Odd multiple of 90 means cos becomes sin. You know it very well. So minus cos. What is there inside? Cos inverse z. Inside thing is as it is. Cos 180 plus theta means minus cos theta. Okay. So next we can ignore cos and cos inverse. What you will get in the right side? Minus z. And left side this. So what I will do in the next step? Take minus z to the left side and this to the right side. Why we have to do it? The students who generally practice this kind of problems a lot, they understand why we should do this. Do you know why I have to do this particular step? Why can't I do squaring on both sides directly? So why should I take minus z to the left side and this to the right side? And why I should do squaring on both sides now? To make sure that our calculations in the upcoming steps are simple. That's it. If I do squaring on both sides, immediately the solution will be lengthy. So you keep the terms which has square roots on one side and the terms which does not have any roots on other side. Then you do squaring on both sides, the calculation will be easy. So a few more steps, dear students. Do squaring on both sides and expand, you will get your answer. What is it? I'll erase this. I hope you can take a screenshot wherever needed. Okay, xy plus z whole square is equal to, and if I square this, I'll get 1 minus x square into 1 minus y square. And by using a plus b whole square identity, a square plus b square plus 2 into a into b, that means xy into z is equal to. So when I expand the RHS, 1 into 1 is 1, plus into minus is minus, 1 into y square is y square, and then minus x square ones are minus x square. So minus into minus is plus x square y square. Please observe what gets cancelled on both sides. If you take x square y square to the right side, these two will get cancelled. Correct or not? And take minus y square and minus x square to the left side. Minus x square comes left side plus x square, and minus x square comes left side plus y square, and then plus z square, and then plus 2xyz, and right side who is there? 1. So this is what we are supposed to prove. We have to prove that x square plus y square plus z square plus 2xyz is 1, and we have proved it successfully. It is actually an MCQ, straight objective question. I have converted it in this particular form. Prove that form. Okay na? So what they will do in MCQs means they will give this condition and they will ask which of the following are correct options. This will be one among the options, you can answer it. And let us see one more question on cos inverse x minus cos inverse y. Please observe, dear students, the next question is very logical and very important. If you understand the conditions while using this formula, cos inverse x minus cos inverse y formula, you will get the correct answer in the next question. Okay, let us see. Let us see what is the question first. Dear students, here is one question on the board. Before I can explain it, you try it first. Okay, so here use whatever formula you can use, whatever property you can use. You try it first and let me know whether you have got the correct answer or not in your attempt. Okay, you try it first, keep the video in pause and you try it. Let me know about what kind of answer, whether you got the correct answer or not in the comment sections. Now anyhow, so first you try it and then continue watching the video. Okay, so I'm going to explain. See, I'll tell you what is the basic mistake which is done by students. They'll take LHS, okay, cos inverse x, okay, cos inverse of x by 2, they'll write it as x into 1 by 2, superb, yeah, they are observing it, plus, they'll take root 3 common here and here, okay, now, and they'll take root 3 outside the square root, and they'll write root 3 by 2 into square root of 1 minus x square. Fantastic. We have to prove that LHS is equal to RHS. Okay. So this one particular step they will do it correctly. Next, what they will do is they will say this is x. Yes, this is y. And then this is root of 1 minus x square, and this is root of 1 minus y square means 1 by 4. Correct only. So square root of 1 minus 1 by 4 is this. Correct. So they have identified what is x and what is y. And what they will do next? Cos inverse x plus, what they will do next is they will write cos inverse x minus cos inverse of y, y means 1 by 2, and what answer they have got is 2 cos inverse x minus pi by 3, and surprisingly that is not RHS, our answer is wrong. Then where we went wrong? Where we went wrong is while thinking that this is cos inverse x minus cos inverse y blindly, there we went wrong. There are conditions given in the question. Without using these conditions, how can we expect that we will get correct answers? So in inverse trigonometry particularly, we have to be careful. We should not be misled. What we have to understand, where we went wrong, let us come back. What is it? Yes. So do you think cos inverse of xy plus root of 1 minus x square into root of 1 minus y square is always cos inverse x minus cos inverse y? No. What is it, dear students? First of all, come to this. X is between 1 by 2 and 1. Correct or not? What is the meaning of it? X is clearly greater than or equal to 1 by 2. X is clearly greater than or equal to 1 by 2, or 1 by 2 is less than or equal to x. Now apply cos inverse on both sides here. Cos inverse 1 by 2 is greater than or equal to cos inverse x. So take it left side. Cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x is greater than or equal to 0. Now dear students, what is our answer? My answer here will be either cos inverse x minus cos inverse y or cos inverse y minus cos inverse x. Then which is correct answer? If this is positive value, then this is correct. If this is positive value, then this is correct. Now in these two, who is positive value? So what is that y value here in this question? Y value is 1 by 2. Y value is 1 by 2. So which one is positive, dear students, according to this? According to our condition, who is positive? Cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x. This is positive. What is the meaning of it? Then this must be written as cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x. Okay. So that is very, very important. So therefore it is equal to cos inverse x plus, and this is what? Cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x. Now plus cos inverse x minus cos inverse x will get cancelled, and cos inverse 1 by 2 is pi by 3, 60 degrees. That is our RHS. Once again, what is that simple mistake that you have done? You wrote this particular formula as cos inverse x minus cos inverse 1 by 2. But that is not correct. Why it is not correct? because cos inverse x minus cos inverse 1, what is it, cos inverse 1 by 2 is negative value. We are supposed to write positive value here, so we should write cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x. Or else in theorem 2 what I told, so here clearly what is it, x is greater than 1 by 2. Since x is greater than 1 by 2, I have to write if x is greater than y, if x is greater than y, I should write negative of cos inverse x minus cos inverse y. Negative of cos inverse x is this, and minus of cos in, what is it, if x is greater than y, I should write cos inverse, negative of cos inverse x minus cos inverse y. So that is what I have written here, negative of cos inverse x minus into minus plus cos inverse of y is 1 by 2. So this is what I have written here. So please observe it. So I hope you understood. It is not cos inverse x minus cos inverse 1 by 2. It is not cos inverse x minus cos inverse 1 by 2. It is cos inverse 1 by 2 minus cos inverse x. So if you have clarity here, you will get the correct answer. The answer is pi by 3. Okay. So this is about today's video, and in upcoming videos, which are very important. Why upcoming video is very important means, dear students, we will discuss the graphs of sin inverse of sin x, cos inverse of cos x, tan inverse of tan x. And why they are important means, in inverse trigonometry, if you feel difficulty in any particular topic means, it will be to by heart what is 2 sin inverse x. There are 3 different formulae for 2 sin inverse x. There are 2 different formulae for 2 cos inverse x, and for 2 tan inverse x, etc. Different formulae are there. It's really difficult to by heart each and every formula and each and every condition. So then how to remember, how to prove them means, by using the graphs of sin inverse of sin x, cos inverse of cos x, tan inverse of tan x. Okay, in case if you have reached until the end of the video, please understand that the next video about the graphs of sin inverse of sin x and remaining are very important in this particular chapter. So don't miss those videos. See you all in the next video, and if you have understood this concept, do like the video, share it to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Let us see you all in our next video.